Hello everyone, I'm Ezekiel Kuhoga from OQP Community Network as well as Mikele International Community. And for those who do not yet understand, OQP Community Network is simply a network of intellectuals. Apologies. This is the network which I am establishing, and the main motive of this network is to bring changes to the communities that we live in using what we have, all the talents, all the gifts, the skills. Can we use the skills we have to bless the community? Because at the moment, I think majority of us, we are waiting for the companies to employ us and tell us what we can do with our skills. But if we are outside of the job industry, then we cannot do anything because there is no one to tell us to do something. Apologies, I have something in my throat, so I think I'll be doing this, but I have to do this session. I cannot wait. Yeah, so please bear with me. Yeah, so to continue is that so this community, the intention of this community is trying to encourage us to push us beyond what we can be told by the companies, by the offices, that what we can do with our talent. So let us just look within and do what we can do with what we have. So this is the main intent of OQP Community Network. So it's an intellectual network, and I hope to make it global. So which means people from Tanzania can join, from Ghana should be able to join, from Finland should be able to join. That is that is it actually. And I've said it in other videos, and I will say it again. We have three main goals, which are learning from many sources, including reading books, doing by just practicing what we are learning and what we have agreed that is good. To learn from the books or from any other source we can get, even from other people, from experts. But number three is to teach other people. We are now going we are using the traditional methods, the methods which were being used by our great grandparents. This is what they used to do. They would just learn about a new trick. They would practice it, and then they will go and teach their young ones. And this is how they brought effective change in their communities. And we intend to do the same thing. So one of the things that we are doing is reading books. We have this small community of readers where we read different books. And the method of reading is that we read one book at a time. One book at a time. So we choose this book and we say we will begin this book on this day. And we all stay in one group. For now, we use Telegram platform, and we read 8 pages per day for working days. So we start, let's say, from page 1 to page 7 on Monday, then from page 8 to page 15 on Tuesday, and it goes like that for the whole week. And then on weekend, we take a break. Those who are behind, they are recovering. And we do this because we understand how difficult it is for someone to read in this age. You know, you can be busy with many things. If you have a family, the children, they need you. You need to cook, you need to go to work, you need to come back. But you cannot accept the challenges of life to hold you back. Always you have to find a way to move forward. Like the way Martin Luther King Jr. used to say, like, always find a way to move forward. If you cannot run, you have to walk. If you cannot walk, you gotta crawl. If you can crawl, I mean, you can even roll over, but always do something to move forward. And that is what we insist on, that maybe you are so much tight, but make sure that your busyness does not get in the way of your growth. You will only grow when you learn. So coming back is that from when was it? Was it from July? From July, we started reading this book called This is Marketing, which has been written by Seth Godin. Seth Godin is one of the great marketers in this age, and he's being mentioned by various sources that he's the marketing guru. And I think, I don't remember, was it? I think a couple of years back, he was even invited in the Nordic speaking forum here in Helsinki, and he spoke about leadership and management and the difference. And I listened to his speech. He's spectacular. This guy is really something. And we read this book. This is Marketing. This is one of the, of the best book ever that you can ever read in this area of marketing. Either you are a business person or you are not even a business person, because even if you're not a business person, you still have to sell your ideas to your parents, to your teachers, to your colleagues. I mean, you have to convince them when you want to make changes, unless otherwise you are the person who always want to lag behind. You don't want to do anything in the community, then you don't need any marketing. You will only maybe be receiving. But if you always engage yourself in creating any positive changes anywhere, you are a marketer and you need to become a good marketer. So today I want to share with you our summary. Normally when we finish reading these books, we do like a conclusion meeting where we meet either through, most of the time of course, through Google Teams, and we discuss what everybody has learned and about their comment and views. And we have had some challenges in finding time to discuss when we finished reading this book. We finished actually in the beginning of September, but it was hard to get a time for all of us to meet together and discuss. And that is why I said maybe I should do this alone. And we normally use a Swahili language, but because I'm alone, I said maybe I should use English so that I can also be able to share this material with my colleagues, my friends here in Mikeli, particularly in the Mikeli international community. So I will go straight and discuss with you. The book has 23 chapters in total. Is it 23 chapters? Yes, 23 chapters in total. And what I will be sharing with you are my summaries, which I wrote as I was reading this book. So it's not the book. These are my summaries. But I believe my summary to be one of the best summaries because I've jointed down the main points out of every chapter, and I've tried to summarize in a way which can also give you that flow or give you that relevance to the real book. Apart from that, I really insist that you should get this book, you read it, and it's going to give you a completely new view, how you can view the market and how you should view yourself as a marketer. So let's go straight. So this is the summary like I told you, and I will not read you the introduction. I think I'm going to skip the introduction, and I'm going straight to the chapter. So for chapter number 1, he has mainly find a way to define what is marketing. And for me, I can say marketing, I would pick the second point. Marketing is helping someone to solve his own problem using the solution you are offering. Later in the chapter, you'll see I've explained that you are not selling your product to your customers or your service. Actually, people are not interested in your product or services. They are interested in someone or something which can solve their problem. They're interested in the solution, not your product. And we will see more later. So one of the important things he has taken on this fourth bullet, he talked about the lock and the key, and he said many people, they normally start to create the product and services first, and then they go out to look for the customers. And that is not how a great marketer would do. Any great marketer would first learn about the customers. And when you have learned about the customers, you will go then and fashion your product and service and the story that you are supposed to tell to your customers, and go to give it to the customers whom you already know. So that is chapter number 1. That is what he has mainly discussed. But to get more, you need to find the book. But chapter number 2, he has now discussed about many things, but I would take you straight to the 5 steps of marketing. And these 5 steps are really, really important for any marketer. Number 1, he says, as a marketer, you have to invent something that is worth inventing. So you don't just bring up any product, any crazy. It doesn't give any improvement to the people's lives. Now you got to invent something worth inventing, which is a solution to somebody's challenges or problems. And you must also bring with it along a story worth telling. I have some friends who they are selling some products, but all they can do is they just, I'm giving you an example. Maybe maybe he's selling this pen. All he can do is just to post a pen and say, hey, I'm selling a pen, I'm selling a pen, I'm selling a pen. This pen could be really important. And actually it is important because it helps me to record my stuff, something like that. But the question comes, why do I need to buy this? I mean, why do I need? Because I could get this pen from the city center or from anywhere. So there must be a story behind the product. There must be a story behind the product. Why do you sell me this pen? This is what he means when he says a story worth telling and a contribution worth talking about. So it's also the same thing. Point number 2, he has said, as a marketer, you have to target a small market section and fashion your product or service in a way that they will benefit and care about your product or service. Do not go about after everyone. It's more convincing to say, I want to get more customers, so I'm going to do this for everyone. But it's not going to be effective because nobody can sit down and listen to you. But if you start with the smallest market, it's easier to get their attention and to make them listen. But number 3, he's teaching us to tell a story to all other people corresponding to the testimonies you receive from that small group of people. So after you have selected your small market and told your story and match your narrative with their narratives, then start to listen to them. What are their testimonies? What are their experiences? What are they speaking about your product? And then you pick the strong points, the strong motives. Then you tell this story to all other people. So it's like you're using this small market like your sample market or like your experimental market. And all the good results that you get from these small markets, you tell it to all other people all around. Number 4, he says, pick that one thing that gets almost everyone excited and spread the word about it. So this also adds to the point number 3. But point number 5, he says, now is all about showing up. So now is the time to be consistent. Now is the time to be generous. Now is the time to be persistent as you offer your product or your service. And I think that is mostly I wanted to share with you on chapter number 2. To read more, please, I will put this summary in the links down on the description area. Other point which I think I wanted to share with you on chapter number 2 is there are important facts for any marketer to understand. He has discussed about this important stuff. Let me enable scrolling. Of course, I need to be to transit smoothly. Okay, so important facts for any marketer to understand. Number 1. Only committed and creative people change the world. So if you are not committed, you are not going to change the world. And as the marketer, you are supposed to have an attitude of creating a change in a community, regardless of what you're selling. So even if all you sell is pictures, think them as your tools of creating a change and ask yourself, what am I changing by selling this product? This is how I understood. Point number 2, you can't change everyone. Choose first the smallest viable market and focus there. I've already discussed about this. Change by marketing is made with an intent. It does not come automatically. So you have to intend to create a change. And that is where it starts. People do actually spread stories. This is one very much important story. So the next statement says, find a way to group together people who share the same narrative. And the next point, what others say about you is more important for marketing because other people would rather trust more sources of information from other people than the one you tell by yourself. And this is one of the very important message. Actually, some people, I don't know, they would just find it resisting until they hear it from the third person. That, oh, the guy is really telling the good stories. Let's go and listening. Then they get more trust to listen to you than to listen to you straight, because I think people, they are normally, I think in nature, resistive to any sort of sales or marketing. That's why when they hear straight from you, they would normally put that resistive element. But when they hear it from somebody who is having no ties with you, they can find it easier to trust you. And that is why this also important statement is very important, that people do actually spread stories. So it really matters what you share with this smallest viable market, because they are the ones who will spread the word for you to the whole community. For chapter number 3, marketing change people, I think the most important point I want to share is point number 1. He says, one of the best marketing tricks I've come to understand is a fear of losing versus a desire of gaining. Indeed, this is true that the fear of losing is always large compared to the pleasure or desire of gaining. This is the trick which is used by many people. For example, if you go to buy, let's say, a shoe, and somebody tells you the benefits you can get out of a shoe, it could be convincing. It might, make you want to buy a shoe. But if you see a shoe and then the seller tells you, well, this is only the last pair that is left, and I don't think it's going to be here for long. Actually, you might rush to buy that product. And that's why they come up with this statement that if you fear you are going to miss it, the drive to buy is going to be larger than if somebody was to tell you the things that you're going to get. So this is actually one of the tricks which is used by many marketers or many sellers. There is another important point I wanted to tell you also from chapter number 3. It's bullet number 4, which says marketers' ability to tell a story. Let the customers connect to have that sense of belonging and create a great experience for a customer can be a reason for the breakthrough. So your ability to tell a story is of critical importance. You just can't be bringing your products and shopping, because some people think maybe ads will do, because what ads does, they just make the pop-up window. But I'm the one of people who is annoyed by ads most of the time. At the moment the ads come, I just cancel it. And I think many people do the same. So you can pay a lot of money to Google or to YouTube or Facebook or whatever for the ads. But how many people actually do you get from ads? How many people? But if you learn to tell a story and get that one attention, that one person who has been attentive enough to listen to your story and has understood and has matched with his own or her own narrative, will be your first person to tell a word to other 3 people or 4 people. So it's really important that you learn to tell a story behind what you're selling. And also another point, they say do not assume anything about the market, because sometimes some people would say, I know about these people, they will not buy this product. I know these people, they will take it. I know about these people, blah, blah, blah. I know about these people. Never assume anything about the market. Study your people, study your market, know about their challenges, know about their problems, know about about their status, about their feeling. What do they need to feel important? And then custom your product, your service, and your story with respect to your findings. Number 4, he's talking about the smallest viable market. He actually is still insisting that effective change is done when, first of all, when done with an intent, but also when you start with something which is very simple and as clear as possible. You can make it possible if you have the smallest audience. If you have the smallest audience, your message can be very clear. You can get time to exercise. You can study about yourself. But if your market is huge, it can be very depressing even for you. There is another point. Yeah, actually, he's insisting the same point which he spoke on the first chapter when he was discussing about the key and the lock. And he says, do not make a change to fit your product or service. So don't come with your product and make people like your product, but rather be an agent of change. Use that change to customize your product or service and serve the need that is out there. Let's go to chapter number 5, In Search of Better. The biggest point here is that he's telling you that different people, they have different opinions about everything. So sometimes you can be having a very good story, a very good product or service, and some people will always be against you. And this does not make them bad people, just make them different. So always you must be willing and able to know who does not go along with your narrative, and you let them go. So actually he's saying on this point number 1 that everyone is different and have different opinions about almost everything. Insisting that your product or service is better is useless to a customer. Just all you can do, study your customer, know the need, and see if your product can fit in his need, in his environment, in his narrative. And then you can talk to a customer. Otherwise, if you see the narrative is very different, you have to learn to let people go. And I think he has discussed this on the next chapter as well, Beyond Commodities chapter. Okay, he's insisting always target to be different, avoid being competitive. And for me, I also say that competition is a game of the mind. You can decide to be competitive and also decide not to be competitive, because I believe despite being the same, but deep in our minds, just like the DNAs are very much different, but in our minds also our thoughts are so much different. You can be thinking about the same thing, about the same solution, but in the operations, in the process to implement, it can be very, very different, and that can be also an advantage for you. So, but when you target on competitions, then your focus is always on your competitors, and this actually may even affect your performance. But always try to close yourself in the room with you and your customer, like the psychology, the mental room, and then just think about how you can make your customer's life better. And this is how you can earn an advantage. I believe if you think very genuinely, nobody will ever give your solutions. Your solutions will always come from you if you're active. But all you do is to study your competitors. There will be a time you will disregard your own solutions, your own products, and try to copy the competitors because you think they are doing better than you. I think this is the biggest point here. So he says, point number 3, bullet number 3, he says, be curious to know about the customer's narrative. Open the door of possibilities of narrative. Act on the narrative and build an experience around that story. So he gave many examples in this chapter. For example, about there was a shop. I think it was kind of stationery. Yes, this was a stationery office, but they said we also serve coffee. So it was just being how do they call it? Being creative and innovative, and that can give you a big advantage in connecting with your market. Okay, chapter number 7 is about canvas of dreams and desires. One big point for any seller and marketer should know, he says, most people do not know what they want. That is why asking them about what they want is likely not to give you any good results. This is very true, and I've seen it in many books, including one book about project management. He said the same thing, that many project managers, they end up in conflict with their customers because they ask their customers, what do you want? And then they make what the customer wants. And then when the customer receives that product, the customer is mad because now he realized, no, I do not want it. Can you change this one? And he wants you to make a change within the budget that you have already agreed before. And you, as the service giver, you say, no, this was not included in our agreement before. You have to pay an extra money for it. So conflict comes in. But if the service giver or the product provider could have studied the customer before and also include his explanation, he would have been in a better position to advise the customer. Okay, this is what you want, I know, but according to what I see, this one would suit you better. And if he has done a good work studying the customer, normally this would end up everybody winning, everybody happy. But if all you do is to ask a customer, what do you want, and you give the customer what you want, you're very likely to end up in a conflict with the customer. So this is the biggest point for any marketer. So it says, instead, learn about them, watch them, know about their status they seek, know about their dreams, know about their desires, and then create the story that delivers that feeling. That is an effective way to market anything. And he insists also this statement, which I've said also several times: no one needs your product or service. Instead, they need an experience, they need a feeling, they need a solution that your product will provide for them. And there is a quote here which I made from the book, which says, the heart and soul of thriving enterprise is the irrational pursuit of becoming irresistible. So becoming irresistible, that means you have to start just studying your customer well enough to make sure that you understand their need and finding a way to fit that need. Let's go to chapter number 8. More of the who's seeking the smallest, still talking about the smallest viable market. There was an important point which I wanted to share with you. I will not read everything. Yes, this is bullet number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's this one. It says, not all the people are supposed to like your product, and not all the people will hate your product. So there will always be a balance. Do not be discouraged when faced with criticism about your product or service. It is likely you will meet someone who will appreciate it. And mind you, your product will never be perfect. Not even from the beginning. That is why we always have the new models, like even for the Apple. They have been releasing new iPhones every day, and every new iPhone comes with an improvement, which means that the previous one had some problems, despite them being the biggest brand. And who are you to make the first perfect product on spot? No way. So you will always start with some problems. You will always start with this and that. And you have to be aware that some people will always criticize your product because they are not in there for you. But also there will always some people who will agree, will accept what you have for what it is. They will pay for it and gladly use your product or service for them. So this is an important point to understand, so that you cannot be discouraged. There are many people who have closed down their business because they receive so much criticism, they receive so much attacks that, oh, you cannot never do this business, your product sucks, your product is really bad, it's dumb, and something like that. So please understand that not all the people will like your products. There will be many people that will criticize, and in fact, people who criticize your product are more visible than the one who likes them, because the one who likes them, they'll just keep quiet and stick around, and stick around to maybe to get another one. But the one who hates you, they will speak loudly, and you I think you agree with me. Always words spreads. You can hear them. They can hit you hard in your head. But do not be discouraged, because someone else will surely like your products the way it is now and will appreciate your effort to solve the problems or challenges in their lives. Okay, I will just read also another last point on the same chapter number 8, that instead of using critics method, try advice method, where a customer gets to share on their narrative on how she would have wanted it to be. So sometimes you can face a customer and try to open up to her so that she can share how she would have wanted your product to be, and maybe you can use that to improve yourself. Therefore, ask a customer for advice in case of a complaint or just selling process. Chapter number 9, people like us do something like this. I like this chapter so much because he insisted that when you select your smallest viable market, then all you do as a marketer is like you are creating a change, you are creating a new culture. And he defines the new culture is everyone, people like us do something like that. So who are these people like us? People like us are those people who are in the particular community, very small community. And when I say community, I don't necessarily mean a community like the one I'm doing, maybe Occupy Community Network or Maker International Community. It could be the community of people who are using your product. So you create a particular culture of life that these people, they will feel belonging to that community that you have created, and once they feel belonging to that community, then they become more open to your solutions that you are suggesting on the table. Chapter number 10, tension and trust create a forward motion. I will not read here, but what I can comment on this chapter is that sometimes, and actually most of the time, people buy because they trust you, not because they want your product also or service. Because if they can get it to somebody else and they don't trust you, they will get it to somebody else despite your product being better or something like that. And I also heard this statement, I think, from Brian Tracy in his book Psychology of Selling, that people always like to buy from people they know and trust. So if you are outside of the loop, you can bring a superior product, but people will always be like, should we really buy from him? How do we know this thing is going to work out well? But if you have already created your smaller market and people have had this closer relationship with you, it's easier for them to trust you. And once they trust you, they become open. They will buy your product. So invest in creating trust first, more than just coming in and wanting to sell your product to the people. I will just look maybe for one point. Actually, they've discussed about the pattern. I think explaining about the pattern matching and pattern interruption will take time, so I will not talk about it. But please get the book, or you can get the summary to know what he's discussed. But please get the book to understand well about the pattern match and pattern interrupt. Or in fact, actually, I think I will make a video some days to discuss specifically about the pattern match and the pattern interrupt, how it can be used by a marketer. Chapter number 11, he has talked about the status of dominance and affiliation. Also, this is another topic which needs also in-depth discussion. But in short, what I understood about this chapter is that it's the mentality of a marketer or as a seller. How much do you involve your market or your customers in customizing your product? Some people would say, this is my product, this is the way I want it to be, and this is how I'm going to sell it to you. So please take it or leave it. You can be like that, and that is what has been referred to as dominance, that you like to dominate. You dominate the market. But you can use the affiliation method. Affiliation method is asking opinion from the market. Like, how would they want this? Does this color suit them? Would they wish to change anything in this pen? And then you incorporate their opinion in customizing your product and then give it to customer. And most people who do win, they are going with these affiliation methods, so that to make the customers, the point here is to make the customer feel belonging to what you are doing. It makes the customer feel proud. And when the customer feel proud, not only do they buy your product, but they also become your speakers. They spread the word for you. And this method can be used to reach even the wider market that you might have not reached by yourself. So that is mostly has been discussed in this chapter. Chapter number 12, a better business plan. If asked to say in one statement or two about the book, I would say this book was written not to teach about marketing, but about changing the perspective or attitude. This is what I wrote. I don't know, what should I discuss here? Yeah, I think I'm going to skip this one. Okay, here we go about semiotic symbols and vernacular. What he discussed here, he said it's actually the logos and everything else. They do not add so much to marketing, but they just help the market, the customers to have that great experience. When you have the good looks, it's like your dress. Some people say it doesn't matter what you dress when you go to sell. But trust me, the one who dresses better, maybe you are in your suit and a tie and you have combed your hair really well, it's always easier to make somebody stop and listen to you than if you are in a jeans and t-shirt and something like that. People can have so many interrupting ideas like, should I really listen to him? Is he really trying to sell me, or is he trying to cheat and trick me or something like that? So having a good look will eliminate some of the interrupting thoughts which might come to your customer, and it can make the communication easier. And this is what has been discussed here, that always go for something simpler, something which is beautiful, something which is nicer, to give that great experience to your customer. Okay, I can read maybe point number 2. It says, one of the great assets when facing the market is to make them feel deserving to the status you're portraying, offering a feeling of importance, respect, value. Create environment to enhance the great experience. I think I should emphasize on that one. Point number 14, treat different people differently. Key point here is understand that the characteristics of your market responds to a change. Okay. Each group needs to be understood and treated accordingly. So study your market once again. I think I will go to the next chapter, reaching the right people. He defined definition of a goal, strategy, and tactic has been given. So a goal is what you seek to achieve. Strategy is the way, the how you are going to reach your goal. And tactic, these are steps within a strategy. So these are those one steps in order for you to achieve your strategy. And the point here, he says there's no problem revealing your strategy, and he used actually Coca-Cola to explain about this definition. I mean, it's lovely the way he explained about Coca-Cola. Please get the book to read more, but I will not go deeper in this area. But simple, he said, releasing or sharing your strategy with your market is one of the marketing strategy, so that people, they can know what really are your intention. But the tactic, how you are really going to implement your strategy, is always your secret. You should always protect this tactic with all your strength, because if somebody knows your tactics, they can do it ahead of you. But if somebody knows your strategy, they can find their own ways to do it, and people actually buy the solution, not the strategy, not the product or service. It's these smaller tactics, like how are you going to really make your product sell. That is what is more important. Chapter number 16, price is a story. There are some people who believe in order to sell more, you should make your product simpler, but he's challenging that narrative. He said that instead of making your product cheaper, perhaps you can elaborate well on the value of your product or service. If people really understand that your product or service is valuable, they are going to pay any money for it. All they need to know is that they get more than what they pay for. This is the only thing that you need to understand. That is the reference. And there are no fixed reference, like absolute reference, that they need to always pay 10 euros or 10,000 shillings. All they need to know is that we got more than what we paid for. So put your efforts on creating the value and also telling the story about the value. People need to understand the value of what you're selling. That is what has been discussed in this chapter. Chapter number 17, permission and remarkability is a vicious. Permission, he's talking about also the tendency of many marketers to invade the privacy of their marketers. All you realize is just people send a message to your inbox. Actually, I've also done this before, and I'm learning. I've sent some messages to the WhatsApp inbox of some people. Once in a while, I was selling some articles and something like that, and later I realized, no, that was not good. Actually, it could even trigger some hostile response. Some people can even cut the connection because of that. So that was indeed not good. But it's good when you have earned the permission from your market. And the permission doesn't not have to be the direct permission that, yes, now we allow you, but tell your story slowly and let the customers come and agree to what you are selling. So you can maybe I can look for that point. He says there are many customers who would trick or spam customers into giving the attention. This may work only for a short while, but it does not last long if you have not created any value. When a customer has given you the attention willingly, you can tell your story for as long as it takes. That is the biggest point. And I can read also The last statement: make your project remarkable by intending to create a great customer experience worth talking about. But also you earn the attention by showing generosity. So when you become generous to people, people give you attention and they want to know what is it you're offering. Chapter number 18. Trust is scarce as attention. As I think I've already discussed about this, that one of the main goals as a marketer, as a business person, is to create trust with your market. They need to trust you. So yeah, I think I'm not going to talk also so much into this. Chapter number 18, the funnel. Here he has discussed mostly on the the input versus the output. How should I put it? You know the funnel, the way it stays like this. Some people use it to pour oil, some water, so that into a smaller gallon or something like that. So the funnel is like, he has discussed about the ads and the way you tell your story, like how many people do you reach and how many people turn up to your product or service. So this is the funnel effect. So some people believe that the ads really pay, so they would pay a lot of money for making the ads. But the question is, how many people do you actually get from making ads? So that is the funnel effect. And for him, he still insists that do not focus on going for everyone around the world, but instead start with the smallest viable market, tell your story, and always, if you have succeeded building this smallest market and succeeded telling the story, always the funnel effect is so good. So you reach 10 people, you can have actually positive response from 8 people. So your funnel efficiency is almost close to 100%. And then these people, they will be the ones to tell a story to other people, to other people, to other people. So as you reach more people, then you have more people turning back to you. But if you don't tell any story, all you do is running ads, you can reach 1 million people, but only 100 people will turn up to your product or effects, and it can be so much exhausting. All the money that you get out of a product, you end up spending it back in reaching the people, which I think will not be so beneficial for you. But if you learn the effective way of marketing, you'll always make sure that you have more customers. And actually, more than that, how much do you retain the customers to use your product or service? Some customers may come and use your product once, and once they're gone, they are gone for good. This is also another thing that you need to look at. So this also chapter is very important. Chapter number 20, organizing apologies, organizing and leading the tribe. Also, this talks about how you can organize this small community and act as a leader. He says, learn how to use a story in marketing. Your listeners must feel in the same situation as you while you show them how you progressed. This will make it easier for them to trust you and act as you have suggested. I will read it again. He says, learn how to use a story in marketing. Your listeners must feel being in the same situation as you while you show them how you progressed. This will make it easier for them to trust you and act as you have suggested. Actually, this is one of the secrets for public speaking. This is one of the things that I have learned in public speaking, and I have started to use it, and I can see a great improvement in the works that I'm doing. Do not manipulate. It may work once, but in no time it can ruin everything. And actually, this is one of the character of leadership. Leadership is not about manipulation. It's about inspiration. It's about influence. Create a community with shared interest goals that speaks one language. Chapter number 21. I know this video is very long, but I see it's important I can discuss all chapters at once. But if you get, you can watch half maybe, and when you get time, you can come to finish the video later. Actually, I'm just finishing now. 21, he says, some case studies using the method. Do not focus on using external tools for marketing, such as agents and producers. to market your work. Instead, focus on improving your work, and tools will be attracted to you. Many people actually, they really want to find an external marketers, marketing agents and sellers and something like that. So he says improve your work. And actually I think many people who invest more in marketing, they have very poor products or services. So nobody wants to buy the products or services. That's why they have to use more power in selling those products. But if you improve your work, and actually this is also one of the points which was emphasized by Steve Jobs. He says he was also doing the same thing. They were putting a lot of resources in marketing, but later on they decided to now focus on their products, which I think is an iPhone. After they started investing in this product, they minimized a lot of money in marketing, and I think he mentioned something like now they don't spend any money on the marketing, so the product just sells itself. Though I don't think they don't spend at all. Maybe they spend very minimum amount, especially in the announcement and something like that. When they host any event to tell about the iPhone, that is as a marketing strategy. Marketing works, and now it's your turn. Chapter number 22. There's only one point at which I can read here. An attitude of wanting to be perfect is likely to limit your chance of improving. As a marketer, do your best you can do now, but with an attitude you're expecting to do better and to improve on the next interaction. Actually, I've discussed about this, that your product will never be perfect as you begin, even as you finish. That's why we have new models every day. That's why an iPhone releases new iPhone every day. That's why the Samsung releases the new Samsung every day, because the previous product had some problems. But if you agree on the fact that your critics said your product sucks, and because of that you stopped working on your product, then you just quit on yourself. So you can never start by being product, but be honest, be intentional about creating a positive change, be intentional about creating a solution, and everything will be improved slowly. I will read it again for you. That an attitude of wanting to be perfect is likely to limit your chance of improving. As a marketer, do your best you can do now, but with an attitude that you're expecting to do better and improve in the next interaction. Chapter number 23, which is the last chapter, marketing to the most important person. He has defined marketing again in another language, that marketing is just a tool used in introducing a change you are seeking to make. Marketing as a tool is not evil, no good, but it takes a character of the one using it. Actually, he used also an example of a knife, that knives, they are not evil, they are not good, but they can take a life. But despite taking a life, they can also be used to chop firewood. They can be used to cut meat in order to eat. They can be used to chop the vegetables. So it all depends on the character of the person using it. So beware. Not all marketers, they are good. They will sell you good solutions. Some will sell you evil stuff. They will sell you very stupid stuff. But not all of them, they will be like that. Some will be very good and generous, and all you can do is to just be a good listener. And actually, this is for the customers, for the people who are being marketed to. And for you as a marketer, always, it does not pay in the end selling the evil stuff, which you know yourself that they are evil stuff. Focus on creating good change for your community, and the rest will follow. Another point here, it says, do not fear rejection. Instead, focus on improving. Apologies. Do not fear rejection. Instead, focus on improving your marketing. Offer more value than you are charging. Being poor at marketing or simply not wanting to market is selfish. This is really, really important. Actually, this is one of the things which actually I connect with the biblical, or the way I see how God is feeling towards us whom He has given the abilities to do various things, and yet we would not want to do it for others. I can recall the story of God and Moses. When God called Moses and he was giving him the instructions to go and deliver his people out of Egypt, Moses was speaking many things, and all of them was saying how little he thinks he is. He started thinking of course, he mostly was speaking about his speech ability. I cannot speak, I cannot do this, I'm only a son of a farmer, something like that. And then, if you remember, God got angry. He said, Moses, who do you think made that mouth of yours? And if it's me who made that mouth of yours, actually these are my own words, if you think that mouth is the one which I made, then do I not know enough about that mouth, about how much it can do? Would I have asked you to go and do this if I knew you are not going to, you're not able to do this? So all in all is that it makes God angry when you fail to use the abilities that he had handed it over to you. And this is what is being expressed here in the market, that failing to sell your solutions to the people who need it is actually a sin, is something which is very unpleasant even towards your creator. So it's not, being a marketer, it's not about feeling, a choosing or something like that, but it's a responsibility that you are supposed to do, because you have an ability, you have a solution which somebody always needs. And if you do not give this solution or this service that you are supposed to give, someone will be deprived of their rights. Somebody is going to live a ruined life only because you do not give this solution. And that's why I think God becomes really angry at those people who do not use their abilities, and they do not sell their abilities and solutions to the people who need them. Most challenges we face as marketers are simply stories that we tell ourselves. Start by telling yourself a good story, and it's going to help you create a value. I think this is where it ends. Yeah, so shortly, I think that is what I want to discuss with. That was a summary from this book. It's one of the really amazing book. Actually, for me, it was not the first time to read the book. I had listened to the audio copy before, I think 3 or 4 times, and I've actually learned from it and tried to use some lessons from it, and it had actually worked right. And mind you, again, I'm not an expert in marketing, because somebody might say, well, you are teaching us about marketing, but what about you? Actually, myself, I'm learning, and I'm not successful yet, but I'm coming, because I've learned a lot. I've tried to work on them, and I can see they are paying. So I insist again, if you are selling any product, any solution, and you seek to make even a larger impact, try to find this book, buy this book. This is Marketing by Seth Godin, and then read it very slowly, read it with an intention to learn. Make sure you note down the points, but above all, I insist you have to join our reading community. It's really effective. Because of the circumstances, it's very difficult to read a book on your own. I mean, you can have the drive, you can have the intention, but how long is it going to take you for you to read the whole book? Many people read only the first page of the book, and then they find themselves quite busy. But trust me, if you have any community which can push you towards reading, it's far better. They say if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to this video in order for you to get other videos that I will be releasing in relation to the reading program, but also other programs that I will be conducting here on this platform. Above than that, please, I wish you a wonderful time. Bye-bye.